But in one section of the market, something strange was happening. Amara's stall was still stocked. Not overflowing, not suspicious, but steady, reliable, controlled. Ngozi leaned closer. "Where are you getting all this from?" she whispered. Amara didn't look at her. "Sell what you have," she said calmly. "More is coming." Ngozi blinked. "Coming from where?" Amara finally turned. "Do you want to sell, or did you want to ask questions?" Ngozi raised her hands quickly. "I want to sell." "Good." That night, while most of Lagos worried, Amara moved. Motorcycles replaced trucks. Small vans replaced trailers. Goods moved through narrow roads no one paid attention to. Paths that didn't exist on official maps. Routes that only locals knew. Risky, uncomfortable, but effective. Sadiq wiped sweat from his forehead as he supervised a late-night delivery. "This is madness," he muttered. Amara stood beside him, calm as ever. "It's necessary." "You're moving more goods now than before," he said, shaking his head. "During a crisis." Amara crossed her arms. "This is not a crisis," she said quietly. Sadiq looked at her. "What is it then?" Amara's eyes stayed on the crates being unloaded. An opportunity. By the second day, Lagos began to break. Empty stalls, angry customers, rising prices. A bag of rice doubled overnight. Tomatoes became scarce. Pepper almost disappeared. And everywhere, complaints, blame, fear. Tunde was no longer irritated. Now, he was concerned. "This doesn't make sense," he said, pacing his office. "Why is local supply also failing?" His manager swallowed. "Because they depend on the same routes, sir." Tunde stopped walking. That, he hadn't fully considered. He had always seen local markets as disorganized, separate. But now, they were all failing at once, which meant they were more connected than he thought. "Find alternatives," he snapped. "We're trying, sir. Try harder." But effort wasn't the problem. Structure was. And Tunde didn't have it. Not where it mattered most. Meanwhile, Amara did. By the third day, something unbelievable happened. Her stall was no longer just a stall. It was a hub. Traders gathered around her, waiting, watching, depending. "Amara, do you have extra?" "Amara, my customers are shouting." "Amara, please, anything." She didn't rush, didn't panic, didn't overpromise. She controlled distribution carefully. Who got what? How much? When? Because supply wasn't just about availability. It was about control. And Amara, she was in control. News began to spread beyond the market. Whispers at first, then louder. "There's one place still selling food." "Where?" "That market near Ojalegba. They still have supply. Go there." Crowds increased, doubled, tripled. People traveled across the city just to find food. And almost all roads led to one place. Amara's network. Cameras followed. Journalists arrived. Microphones pushed forward. "How are you maintaining supply?" one reporter asked. Amara looked at the camera briefly, then away. No comment. Because this wasn't about attention. This was about position. And far away, Tunde stood in front of a television screen, watching, listening, processing. This small market has remained operational despite the ongoing supply crisis. Images flashed. Crowds. Food. Order. Structure. Something about it didn't make sense. Not to him. Not yet. "Sir," his manager said carefully. Tunde didn't respond. His eyes were fixed on the screen. Because in the middle of the crowd, for just a second, he saw her. A familiar face. The girl. The one from the market. The one who spilled tomatoes on his shoes. Tunde leaned closer, frowning, confused. "No," he murmured. "It didn't fit. It didn't make sense." It couldn't be. But it was. Back in the market, Amara stood at the center of controlled chaos, giving instructions, making decisions, moving pieces no one else could even see. The city was hungry, desperate, unstable, but she wasn't. Because years ago, before anyone was watching, before anyone cared, before anyone even knew her name, Amara had asked herself one simple question. What happens when everything stops working? Now she had her answer. Everything didn't stop. It shifted. And as Lego struggled to hold itself together, one truth became impossible to ignore. The system everyone depended on had failed, but Amara's system was just getting started. By the fourth day, Legos had changed. Not slowly, not quietly, completely. The usual noise of the city was still there. Cars honking, traders shouting, generators humming. But underneath it all was something new. Tension. The kind that made people impatient. The kind that made small problems turn into big ones. Food had become power. And the people who controlled it controlled everything. Tunde Adebayo had not slept. Not properly. Not since the second day. His office, once a place of confidence and control, now felt like a war room. Phones rang non-stop. Emails flooded in. Reports stacked on his desk. None of them good. We're losing distribution in 3 major zones, his manager said, flipping through documents. Our retail partners are pulling out, another added. They can't wait for supply. Tunde stood by the window, staring down at the city. It looked the same, but it wasn't. Because for the first time, his system wasn't working. And worse, he didn't understand why. That market, he said suddenly. The room went quiet. What market, sir? His assistant asked. Tunde turned slowly. The one on the news. The one still operating. Recognition flickered across their faces. Yes, sir. We've been monitoring it, the manager said. It's unusual. Unusual how? They have consistent supply, stable pricing, no visible breakdown. Tunde's eyes narrowed. That's not possible. The manager hesitated. But it's happening. Silence filled the room. Heavy, uncomfortable. Then Tunde made a decision. Prepare the car. The convoy moved quickly through Lagos traffic. Sirens didn't blare, but they didn't need to. The presence alone was enough. People made way. They always did. But as Tunde sat in the back seat, something felt different. For once, he wasn't sure what he was walking into. As they approached the market, the first thing he noticed wasn't the crowd. It was the order. People lined up. Not perfectly, but enough. Traders weren't shouting over each other. Prices weren't changing every second. There was structure, control, discipline. In a Lagos market, Tunde stepped out of the car slowly, taking it all in. This wasn't luck. This wasn't coincidence. This was organized. Make space, one of his security men shouted. But something strange happened. The crowd didn't rush, didn't scatter. They moved, but not in panic. In awareness. Like they understood something his team didn't. Tunde walked deeper into the market, his eyes scanning everything. Crates, distribution, movement, patterns. And then, he saw it. At the center, Amara. For a brief moment, everything else faded. The noise, the crowd, the crisis, gone. Because standing there was the last person he expected. She looked the same, and yet, completely different. Her clothes were simple, her hands still rough, but her presence, unmistakable. People moved when she spoke, listened when she gave instructions, waited when she paused. This wasn't survival. This was leadership. No, Tunde murmured under his breath. It didn't make sense. His mind rejected it immediately. This girl, the one from that day, the one kneeling in the dirt, picking up tomatoes. But reality doesn't care what you believe. Only what is. Amara turned slightly, and their eyes met. Again. This time, there was no misunderstanding. She recognized him instantly. Of course she did. Amara remembered everything. For a second, neither of them moved. The space between them filled with something unspoken. History, power, shift. Then Tunde did what he had always done best. He stepped forward. "Excuse me," he said, his voice controlled, measured. The crowd parted just enough. Not out of fear, but curiosity. He stopped in front of her, close enough to see clearly, close enough to confirm. It was her. "You," he said. It wasn't a question. It was disbelief. Amara tilted her head slightly. "Yes," she replied calmly. "Me." The simplicity of her answer unsettled him. No apology, no hesitation, no recognition of hierarchy, just certainty. Tunde glanced around briefly, then back at her. All this, he gestured around. "You're behind it?" Amara didn't answer immediately. She let the silence sit. Let him feel it. Then, "I'm part of it," she said. Not denial. Not confirmation. Control. Tunde exhaled slowly, trying to regain his footing. Because this conversation was not going the way he expected. "I heard about what's happening here," he continued. "It's impressive." The word felt foreign in his mouth, but he said it anyway, because now he needed something. "Maybe we can talk," he added, somewhere quieter. Amara looked at him, studied him, the same way she had days ago. Only now, the balance had shifted. "I'm working," she said simply. Tunde blinked. He wasn't used to that. Not used to being delayed. Dismissed. Controlled. "This won't take long," he insisted. "It will," Amara replied. Then she turned slightly. "Ngozi, handle that side. Limit 2 baskets per person." Ngozi nodded immediately. No questions asked. Tunde watched this exchange carefully. Not the words. The reaction. People listened to her. Without hesitation. Without doubt. That's when it hit him. Not fully. But enough. This wasn't temporary. This was power. Real power. And for the first time since arriving, Tunde adjusted. "All right," he said, lowering his voice slightly. "I'll be direct." Amara faced him again. Waiting. "My business is affected by this crisis," he said. "Supply chains are down. Imports are delayed." A pause. Then, "You have access to distribution right now." Not a question. A statement. Amara didn't deny it. "We can work together," Tunde continued. "I can scale what you're doing. Expand it. Formalize it." He leaned slightly closer. "Turn this into something bigger." Amara's expression didn't change, but something in her eyes did. Recognition. Because she understood exactly what he was offering. Control. The same control he thought he already had. She took a step closer. Not aggressive. Not submissive. Intentional. "You said something to me," she began quietly. Tunde frowned slightly. "What?" Amara held his gaze. "Do you even remember?" He hesitated. And that hesitation said everything. So she reminded him. "You said people like me will never change," she said. Her voice wasn't loud, but it cut through everything. "You said that's why we stay poor." The words hung in the air. Heavy. Unavoidable. Around them, a few people had started listening. Not openly, but enough. Tunde felt it. The shift. The pressure. "That was," he started. "A mistake." Amara finished. He stopped. Because now, there was no easy way out. Amara stepped even closer. Her voice steady. Unshaken. "You looked at me and saw nothing," she said. Not anger. Not pain. Just truth. Then she gestured around them. At the market. The people. The system. "But this," she continued, This is what you didn't see. Tunde swallowed. For the first time in a long time, he didn't have the right words, because everything she was saying was true. And worse, he knew it. Amara straightened slightly, creating just enough distance. You think you control supply, she said. A pause. But supply is people. Another pause. And people all. She looked around briefly, then back at him. Don't belong to you. Silence. The kind that forces understanding. The kind that leaves no room for denial. Then she delivered the final blow. Quietly. And right now. A slight tilt of her head. Your business needs me. No arrogance. No exaggeration. Just fact. Tunde stood there. Still. Processing. Because for the first time, the world had shifted under his feet. And the person standing in front of him was no longer someone he could ignore. Not a market girl. Not background noise. Not invisible. But something else entirely. Something he hadn't prepared for. Something he didn't understand. Something he now depended on. Amara turned away before he could respond. Already moving. Already working. Already in control. And as Tunde stood there, surrounded by a system he didn't build, couldn't control, and barely understood, one truth settled in. Clear. Unavoidable. The girl he once humiliated was now the one holding the future of his empire in her hands. By the end of the first week, Lagos didn't collapse. It adjusted. That was the thing about the city. You could break parts of it, slow it down, disrupt its rhythm. But Lagos always found a way to move again. The only question was, who controlled the new rhythm? At first, people thought the crisis would pass. A few days, maybe a week, then everything would go back to normal. But normal never returned, because something had already changed. Something deeper than traffic or broken roads. The system people depended on had revealed its weakness. And once people see weakness, they don't forget. Across the city, conversations began to shift. At restaurants, in offices, on the streets. Why were we so dependent on imports? How did one road shut everything down? And how is that one market still running? The question spread faster than the crisis itself. And at the center of every answer was a name people were just beginning to learn. Amara. She didn't announce herself, didn't give speeches, didn't chase attention, but attention found her anyway, because results are louder than words. Her network had grown, not in noise, but in reach. What started as a few traders became dozens, then hundreds. Farmers who once struggled to sell their goods now called her directly. Transporters who had been unreliable now competed to work with her. Market women who once saw her as just another girl now waited for her instructions. But Amara didn't rush expansion. That was the difference. She didn't grow fast. She grew right. Every new connection had a place. Every route had a backup. Every delay had a solution. Because she wasn't building a hustle. She was building a system. One that didn't break under pressure. Early one morning, she stood at the edge of the market, watching a new delivery come in. Not by truck, not even by van, but by a coordinated line of motorcycles, each carrying smaller loads. Faster, flexible, efficient. Sadiq walked up beside her, shaking his head. I won't lie, he said. What you've done, I've never seen anything like it. Amara didn't look at him. It's not finished. Sadiq laughed softly. At this rate, it will never be. She turned slightly. That's the point. Because systems like hers weren't meant to finish. They were meant to evolve. Behind them, traders were already organizing distribution. No shouting. No chaos. Just movement. Purposeful. Controlled. And beyond the market, Lagos was watching. Government officials began to take notice. At first quietly, then directly. One afternoon, a black SUV, different from Tunde's, pulled up near the market. Men in suits stepped out, observing, asking questions, taking notes. "Who is in charge here?" one of them asked. The traders looked at each other. Then, almost instinctively, their eyes moved toward Amara. She didn't step forward immediately, didn't rush, didn't perform. She simply walked over. Calm, steady. "I am," she said. No title, no introduction, just truth. Meetings followed. Offers, proposals, partnerships. "We want to support what you're building," one official said. "We can provide funding," another added. "We can help you scale nationwide." Amara listened, carefully, patiently, but she didn't accept immediately, because she understood something they didn't. Speed could destroy what patience built. "I'll think about it," she said. And she meant it, because control wasn't just about having power. It was about knowing when to use it. Meanwhile, Tunde was learning. Not comfortably, not easily, but necessarily. His business had stabilized, but not recovered. Not fully, because even as supply routes reopened, something had changed. People had alternatives now. Real ones. Retailers who once depended on his imports had started working with local distributors. Market traders had built new connections. Customers had adjusted their expectations. And at the center of all of it, Amara's system remained, stronger than before. One evening, as the city settled into its usual restless calm, Tunde stood outside the same market he once walked through with arrogance. But this time, he didn't enter immediately. He watched how people moved, how goods flowed, how everything worked. It wasn't perfect, but it was real. And for the first time, he respected it. When he finally stepped in, there were no security announcements. No need to clear the way. He walked like everyone else. And eventually, he found her. Amara stood near a stack of crates, speaking with two traders. She finished, gave a small nod, and they left immediately. Then she turned. She had already noticed him. "You came back," she said. Not surprised, not impressed, just aware. Tunde nodded slightly. "I did." A brief silence passed, but this one felt different. Not tense, not heavy, balanced. "I've been watching," he said. Amara raised an eyebrow slightly. "I know." That almost made him smile. "I was wrong," he said. No long speech, no excuses, just that. Amara studied him for a moment, not judging, not forgiving, just measuring. "About what?" she asked. Tunde exhaled slowly. "About what power looks like." A pause. "And who holds it?" Amara nodded once, because that was the real conversation. Not pride, not insults, understanding. Tunde glanced around. "You built something real," he said. "Something I didn't see." Amara's voice was calm. "You weren't looking." Another pause. Then, he said something different. "I'm not here to take it." That mattered, because she would have walked away if he was. "I want to work with it," he continued. "The right way." Amara didn't respond immediately. She looked past him, at the market, at the people, at the system she had built from nothing. Then back at him. "The right way," she repeated. Tunde nodded. "Not control," he said. "Partnership." Amara held his gaze, long enough to make it clear. This wasn't a decision she would take lightly, because this wasn't about business. This was about everything. Finally, she spoke. "If we work together." A small pause. "It won't be your system." Tunde didn't hesitate. "I know." Another pause. "It won't be mine either," she added. That caught him off guard. "What do you mean?" Amara gestured around them. "It belongs to the people who depend on it. Farmers, traders, transporters, families, everyone." Tunde followed her gaze. And for the first time, he saw it that way, not as a market, but as a network. Alive. And you? He asked quietly. Amara looked at the city skyline in the distance. Lights flickering. Life moving. I protect it, she said. Simple. Final. Tunde nodded slowly. Because now, he understood his place. Not above it. Not in control of it. But within it. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Lagos glowed. Brighter. Stronger. Different. And somewhere between the noise and the movement, between the struggle and the survival, a new kind of power had taken root. Not loud, not flashy, not obvious, but undeniable. Amara turned to leave, already moving, already thinking ahead. But just before she disappeared into the crowd, she paused, not turning back, just enough to say, "You didn't underestimate me. A beat. You just never saw me." Then she was gone. And as Tunde stood there, watching the system he once dismissed become the future he now needed, one truth settled in completely. The girl nobody saw now controlled the rhythm of Lagos itself.